It was my birthday. I woke up early that morning with a strange excitement in my heart. You see, birthdays stopped being about cakes or presents a long time ago for me. All I wanted was a warm hug from my son, a simple, "Happy birthday, Dad." I remember standing in front of the mirror, straightening the collar of my shirt. My hair had turned gray over the years, and my face carried the wrinkles of countless struggles. But inside, I was still that same father who once carried his little boy on his shoulders, running across the park, hearing him laugh and call me, "Daddy, higher, higher." Those memories were my treasure. But lately, my son had changed. Ever since my ex-wife remarried, I noticed him drifting away from me. He no longer called me Dad. He barely picked up my calls, and when he did, it was always short, always cold. Still, deep inside, I kept faith. He's just a teenager, I told myself. He'll come around. So, on my birthday, I decided to do something special. I had saved for months to buy him a gift, something he had once mentioned he wanted badly, a brand new leather football, the exact model his favorite players used. I could barely afford it, but I thought, if this doesn't bring a smile to his face, nothing will. That evening, I knocked on his door. He opened it, phone in his hand, his face blank. "Hey, son," I said softly, "guess what day it is?" He looked at me, almost annoyed. "I don't know. Tuesday?" My heart sunk, but I forced a smile. "Well, it's actually my birthday today." And then, holding the wrapped gift in my trembling hands, I said, "I got something for you." For a moment, just a moment, I thought he might smile. I thought he would remember the days when he would jump into my arms on my birthdays, screaming, "Happy birthday, Daddy." But instead, he grabbed the gift, tore the wrapping, looked at it, and then he threw it across the room. My heart froze. "Are you kidding me?" he shouted. "Why would I want anything from you? You're not my dad. You're just Mom's ex-husband. My real dad is the man she's married to now." The words hit me harder than any slap could. I stood there, unable to breathe. My own son, the boy I raised, the boy I sacrificed everything for, was calling me a stranger. I clenched my fists, trying to hold back the tears. But then I said just one sentence, one truth I had kept hidden all these years. And when he heard it, everything changed. I stood there, staring at my son, my hands trembling. His words echoed in my ears. "You're not my dad. You're just Mom's ex-husband." For a moment, I couldn't speak. My throat was dry, my chest heavy. But then, I finally whispered the truth. "Son," I said softly, "do you know who stayed awake every night when you were sick? Do you know who worked double shifts, breaking his back just so you could have the best school, the best toys, the best life? Do you know who carried you in his arms the day you were born?" I paused, my voice shaking. "It was me, not him. Me. Your so-called real dad, the man you're talking about? He didn't even want you. He was ready to walk away when your mom was pregnant. And if I hadn't stepped in, you wouldn't even be here today." My son froze. His phone slipped from his hand. His eyes widened as though the ground had disappeared beneath him. I took a deep breath and continued. "You think I'm just Mom's ex-husband? No. I am the man who raised you when no one else wanted to. I am the man who sacrificed his entire youth for you. And even now, even after all the pain, I am still your father." There was silence, heavy, suffocating silence. And then I saw it.
His lips trembled, his eyes filled with tears. He staggered forward and suddenly fell to his knees right in front of me. "Dad," he choked, I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry." The boy who had once called me a stranger was now clutching my hands, crying like the little child I once held against my chest. And at that moment, all the anger, all the bitterness inside me, it melted away. Because no matter what had happened, no matter how much he had hurt me, he was still my son. I knelt down, pulled him into my arms, and whispered, "I forgive you, son. I always have, and I always will." That day, on my birthday, I didn't get a cake or a party, but I got something far greater: the return of my son.
When my son fell to his knees that night, crying and begging for forgiveness, my heart ached in ways I can't even describe. I had waited for years for him to simply look at me with love again, and now here he was, broken, vulnerable, finally realizing the truth. But as I held him, my mind drifted back to the days when he was just a baby. I remembered the night he was born, his tiny fingers wrapped around mine, his first cry filling the hospital room. I remember whispering to him, "Don't worry, little one. I'll protect you. I'll always be here." And I kept that promise. I worked in construction, sometimes pulling 16-hour shifts under the scorching sun. My hands bled, my back screamed in pain, but I never stopped. Every paycheck, every single dollar went to his clothes, his books, his future. There was one winter I'll never forget. He was only 6. The heater in our apartment broke down and we couldn't afford to fix it. He was shivering, his lips turning blue. I wrapped him in my old coat and held him against my chest all night long, whispering, "Daddy's here. You'll be warm. I promise." By morning, my arms were numb, but he was safe. Those were the moments that defined me as his father. Not the title, not the name, but the sacrifices I made silently, without expecting anything in return. As I looked at him now, older, taller, tears streaming down his face, I realized how blind he had been to all of it. Not because he was cruel, but because the world around him had poisoned his heart. Whispers, lies, the constant presence of a man who wanted to replace me. "Dad," he sobbed, clutching my hands tighter. I thought he loved me. I thought he cared for me. But you were the one who was always there. And I never saw it. I never even said thank you." I gently placed my hand on his shoulder. "Son, you don't need to thank me. A father doesn't raise his child for gratitude. He does it because that's what love is. And I loved you every single second of your life, even when you forgot me." He buried his face into my chest, his tears soaking through my shirt, and for the first time in years, I felt whole again. But as we sat there on the floor, I couldn't help but wonder how many other fathers go through this. How many men silently sacrifice everything only to be forgotten, pushed aside, replaced. The truth is, being a father isn't about blood or titles or recognition. It's about the nights you stay awake when your child is sick. It's about the meals you skip so they can eat. It's about the dreams you give up so theirs can come true. And as my son finally whispered, "I love you, Dad. Please don't ever leave me," I knew that no matter how much pain I had endured, it had all been worth it.
As I held my son in my arms, I couldn't help but wonder, how do we get here? How do we go from being inseparable to this painful distance? My mind wandered back to when he was just 8 years old. It was his first school play. He was so nervous that morning, pacing around the living room in his tiny costume. I remember kneeling in front of him, placing my hands on his shoulders and saying, Don't worry, son. Just look for me in the crowd. I'll be there, cheering louder than anyone else." And I was. I worked overtime that week, skipped meals just to buy him the outfit he wanted. And when the curtain rose, I was right there in the front row. His eyes scanned the crowd nervously until he saw me waving. His entire face lit up. That smile, it gave me the strength to endure every hardship. But somewhere along the line, that smile stopped being for me. I still remember the first time he called another man dad. It was during a casual conversation. I overheard him telling his friends, "Yeah, my dad is taking me fishing this weekend." But he wasn't talking about me. He was talking about his stepfather. I felt like the ground had been pulled from under my feet. I went into my room that night and cried silently, biting into my pillow so he wouldn't hear me. I didn't want to burden him with my pain, but deep inside, it tore me apart. Yet I never gave up. I kept showing up, again and again. Birthdays, school events, hospital visits when he was sick. I was always there. Even when he stopped acknowledging me, even when he treated me like a stranger, I remained in the shadows, watching, hoping, waiting. And now, after all these years, here he was, finally realizing the truth. "Dad," he whispered again, his voice breaking, "why didn't you ever tell me? Why didn't you ever fight for me?" I looked at him with weary eyes. "Because, son, love doesn't fight to win. Love sacrifices. I didn't want to drag you through arguments, through battles between adults. I wanted you to have peace, even if it meant I had to live in pain. Sometimes protecting you meant staying silent." He broke down again, his sobs echoing through the room. He kept repeating, I'm sorry, I didn't know." I placed my hand gently on his head, just like I used to when he was a little boy falling asleep. "You don't need to be sorry anymore. What matters is that you're here now, that you see me now, and that's enough." At that moment, something shifted between us. It was as if the years of distance, the cold stares, the forgotten birthdays all melted away. What remained was raw, pure love. But deep inside me, I knew this was only the beginning. Healing doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, effort, and above all, trust. And though my heart was fragile, I was ready to try again. Because after all, he was my son, my only son, and I would walk through fire if it meant keeping him close again.
That night stretched on endlessly, but for the first time in years, the silence between us wasn't cold. It was healing. My son stayed on the floor beside me, clinging to my hand as though he was afraid I might disappear if he let go. I brushed his hair back gently, and I whispered, "Do you remember when you were little, how you used to fall asleep on my chest every night?" He nodded slowly, his lips trembling. "I remember, Dad. I used to feel so safe. I don't know when I lost that." His words cut deep, but at the same time, they gave me hope. He remembered. Somewhere inside him, all those years, the love had never truly vanished. It had just been buried under confusion and lies. I leaned back and let my memories flow. "I used to tell you bedtime stories, son. Remember the one about the knight who never gave up? He fought every battle, no matter how hard, just to protect the people he loved." His eyes widened a little. "Yeah, I remember that story. I used to pretend you were that knight." Tears burned in my eyes. "That's because I was, son. I was your knight. And every single battle I fought in life, I fought for you." He broke down again, burying his face in my arm, repeating over and over, "I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't see it. I didn't see any of it." I held him tighter. "You don't need to apologize anymore. All I ever wanted was to see you happy. And now I just want one promise from you." He pulled back, his face wet with tears. "Anything, Dad, I'll do anything." I looked him straight in the eyes. "Promise me, no matter what happens, you'll never forget who stood by you. Promise me you'll never let anyone tell you that you are not my son, because you are, my blood, my heart, my everything." He grabbed my hand firmly, nodding with conviction. "I promise, Dad, from today nobody else gets to take that title from you. You are my father, always, and I'll never let you down again." For the first time in years, I saw that fire in his eyes, the same fire I used to see when he was a little boy chasing his dreams, the same fire that made me believe he would grow into a strong man. We sat there for hours, talking, about the past, about the future, about everything we had missed. He told me about his struggles, his fears, even the moments he secretly wished I was there, but was too proud to call me. And I told him about my sacrifices, my sleepless nights, my endless prayers for him. It wasn't just a conversation. It was the rebuilding of a bond, brick by brick, word by word, tear by tear. And as the first rays of morning light slipped through the window, my son finally whispered the words I had been waiting to hear for so long. "Happy birthday, Dad."
After he whispered "Happy birthday, Dad," I thought my heart might burst. For years I had longed to hear those words, and now, finally, they had returned, soft, sincere, and filled with love. But my son wasn't done. He stood up, walked to the corner of the room, and pulled out an old box. My hands shook when I saw it. It was the same box where I had once kept all his childhood photos. I hadn't touched it in years. I didn't even know he still had it. He sat beside me, opened the box carefully, and pulled out a photo. It was him, no more than 4 years old, sitting on my shoulders at the beach, his little arms stretched wide as if he was flying. "Do you remember this day, Dad?" he asked. I laughed through my tears. "Of course I do. You begged me to carry you until my legs almost gave out. But I didn't care. You were laughing so hard, and I thought to myself, this is the happiest sound in the world." He smiled faintly, tears still glistening in his eyes. I had forgotten about that, but now it's all coming back. He pulled out another photo, his first bike. "You stayed up all night fixing this second-hand bicycle for me, didn't you?" I nodded. "Yes, you wanted a new one, but I couldn't afford it, so I found an old frame, bought some paint, and fixed it up piece by piece. When you rode it the next morning, your face lit up like the sun. That smile made every sleepless night worth it." He held the photo close to his chest, his shoulders shaking. "All this time, I thought he was the one who gave me everything, but it was you, always you." I placed my arm around him. "Son, gifts don't matter. What matters is love. And love isn't measured by money or appearances, it's measured by sacrifice." For a long moment, we just sat there, flipping through the photographs, each picture unlocking a memory, each memory reminding him of who I truly was. Finally, he looked at me with a new determination in his eyes. "Dad, I can't change the past. I can't erase the words I said to you or the years I spent pushing you away, but I can change the future. From now on, I promise, I'll be the son you always deserved. I'll stand by you the way you stood by me. I'll never let you feel alone again." My throat tightened. I couldn't find words. Instead, I pulled him into my arms once more. Because sometimes forgiveness doesn't need words. Sometimes it only needs two hearts finally beating together again.
The morning sun had fully risen by the time we closed the photo box. My son wiped his tears, took a deep breath, and looked at me with a seriousness I hadn't seen in years. "Dad," he said firmly. "I don't want to just say sorry. I want to show you how much you mean to me. I want to give something back to you." I shook my head gently. "Son, you don't need to give me anything. Your presence, your love, that's enough for me." But he insisted. "No, Dad. You've spent your whole life giving, giving, and giving without ever asking for anything in return. Now it's my turn." I could see the fire in his eyes. He meant every word. He pulled out his phone, scrolling quickly, and said, "I'm going to plan something. Something for just the two of us. No one else. Not Mom, not him, not anyone. Just you and me." I chuckled softly. "What are you planning, huh?" He smiled, an innocent, boyish smile I hadn't seen in so long. "You'll see. But first, I need you to promise me something." I raised an eyebrow. "Promise you what?" He leaned forward, his voice low but firm. "Promise me you won't give up on us again. Promise me you'll trust me this time, that I won't walk away from you ever again." My throat tightened. I placed my hand over his. "I promise, son, I'll never give up on us. I never did, and I never will." That seemed to settle something inside him. He nodded, wiped his face again, and stood up. "Okay, then it's settled. Tonight, I want you ready. No excuses." I laughed. All right. But remember, I'm getting old. Don't drag me into anything too crazy." He smirked. "Trust me, Dad, it's not crazy. It's perfect. You'll see." For the rest of the day, I watched him running around the house, making calls, writing notes, hiding things in his backpack. His energy was contagious. For the first time in years, he wasn't distant or cold. He was alive, excited, like the little boy I used to know. That night, when the sun went down, he came to my room. His eyes were glowing. "Come on, Dad, it's time." I hesitated for a moment, curious and nervous. "What for?" He just smiled and said, "For you to finally see how much you mean to me."
I followed him quietly down the hallway, my heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and nervousness. He didn't say a word, only held my hand firmly as if to anchor me in the moment. We passed the living room, the kitchen, every corner of the house, but tonight it felt different. The walls seemed to hum with warmth, the memories of our past silently cheering us on. Finally, we stepped outside into the cool night air. The garden was softly lit with strings of fairy lights, casting a gentle glow over the path. I froze for a moment, unsure of what to expect, but my son squeezed my hand and whispered, "Keep walking, Dad. You're going to like this." As we reached the center of the garden, I saw it. An old wooden table, set with 2 plates, 2 glasses, and a small cake, candles flickering softly in the gentle breeze. But it wasn't just the setting that caught me off guard. It was the effort. My son had done this himself, carefully arranging everything, even folding little napkins into neat triangles. Tears stung my eyes. You did all this?" I asked, my voice breaking. He smiled, his youthful energy now blended with a newfound maturity. "I wanted you to know that even if I didn't show it before, I see everything you've done for me. Tonight, it's your turn to feel special, Dad." I swallowed hard, my hands trembling as I touched the edge of the cable. He lit the candles one by one, and the soft glow reflected in his eyes, shining brighter than any star above. I couldn't speak for a few moments, just stood there, overwhelmed by the depth of his love, the sincerity of this gesture. Finally, I found my voice. "Son, this means more to me than anything. I don't even know what to say." He shook his head, chuckling softly through his own tears. "You don't have to say anything. Just sit with me. Tonight is about us, about the bond we almost lost, but never really did." We sat together, the night wrapping around us like a protective blanket. We shared the cake, laughing at silly memories, recounting moments from his childhood that we both had almost forgotten. Each story brought waves of nostalgia, each laugh a gentle reminder that love could survive even the longest silences. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small folded note. "I wrote this for you. Read it when you want, or even if you never do. Just know it's from my heart." I unfolded the note carefully. His handwriting was messy, almost like it had been written in a rush, but every word hit me straight in the chest. "Dad, I don't know how I got so lucky to have you. You were always there when no one else was. I didn't understand before, but I do now. I love you more than I can ever say, and I promise I will never take you for granted again." I closed my eyes, holding the note to my chest. My son leaned against my shoulder, and for a long time, neither of us spoke. We didn't need to. The quiet between us was no longer empty. It was full, brimming with understanding, with forgiveness, with the simple truth that we belonged together. Finally, he looked up, a mischievous glint returning to his eyes. "You know, I had a whole plan for tonight. There were going to be fireworks, a banner, even a little surprise gift. But I figured this, just us here, is better." I laughed softly, my chest aching with emotion. "You've outdone yourself, son. This is perfect." He smiled, leaning back slightly to look at the sky. "Happy birthday, Dad. I mean it. I hope you know you're my hero. Always have been, always will be." I pulled him into a tight hug, feeling every heartbeat sync with mine. "And you're mine, son. Always. Nothing and no one can ever change that." As we sat there together under the stars, I realized something profound. Life would continue with its challenges, its unexpected twists, its moments of pain. But tonight, we had reclaimed something sacred. Tonight, we had found each other again. No cake, no gifts, no grand gestures could have matched this. Because this moment, this bond, this love, it was eternal. And for the first time in years, I felt completely, undeniably, at home in my son's heart.
The night stretched on, but we didn't notice the hours passing. The stars above shimmered quietly, a gentle witness to the healing that was taking place below. My son and I sat side by side, sharing stories, laughter, and even silent tears. Every word, every glance, every small gesture carried the weight of years lost, yet now reclaimed. At one point, he got up and retrieved a small tattered box from his room. He handed it to me with a smile that held both mischief and sincerity. "Open it, Dad. I've kept something for a long time." I opened the box carefully. Inside were small tokens of my son's childhood, his first drawing of our family, a medal he won in school, a crumpled ticket from a movie we had once watched together. Each item was a reminder of moments I had cherished, moments I had lived and breathed for him. And now they were returned to me, like pieces of my heart I hadn't realized I'd lost. He sat back down beside me. "I know I've hurt you, Dad. I know I've said things that cut deep, things that made you feel invisible, and I can never take them back. But I want you to know, every laugh, every tear, every second of my life, it's yours, and it always has been." I felt my throat tighten. "Son, you don't know how much this means to me. All I ever wanted was to see you happy, to see you safe, to know you love me. And now, hearing this, it fills every empty corner I've carried for years." He leaned his head against my shoulder. "I wish I could go back and undo all the pain, but I can't. All I can do is move forward with you, Dad, and I promise
I will never take your love for granted again." We sat there in silence, letting the night embrace us, letting the healing sink in. And then he spoke again, softly but firmly. "You know, I've realized something. I spent so long thinking that someone else could replace you, that you weren't enough. But now I see, no one could ever replace you. No one could ever be my father the way you are. My real father is you, Dad. Always has been, always will be." Tears ran freely down my face. I pulled him close and held him like I used to when he was a little boy, the boy who once trusted me to keep him safe from the world. "And you, son, you are my greatest gift. Not the toys, not the money, not the moments everyone else saw, but you, your heart, your soul, your love. That's what has kept me going all these years." He pulled back slightly, wiping his tears, a new determination lighting his eyes. "Dad, I want to do something for you. Something that shows you how much I appreciate everything you've done, everything you've sacrificed for me." I shook my head gently. "Son, your love is enough. Truly it is. You don't owe me anything." "No," he insisted, smiling now with that familiar spark from my childhood. "I want to make a memory with you, just the two of us, something that's ours, something no one else can touch." I nodded, feeling a warmth spread through me I hadn't felt in years. "All right, son, I'm with you. Let's make this memory together." He jumped up and dragged me toward the driveway. "Come on, Dad, you'll see. Trust me." I followed, unsure what to expect, but the excitement in his steps was contagious. He led me to the old van we used to take on family trips, the one I had spent countless hours fixing and maintaining, just so he could have adventures. He opened the door and looked at me with a grin that held both mischief and sincerity. "Open it, Dad. We're going on a little trip tonight, just like old times." My chest tightened. "Just like old times, huh? It's been a long time since, well, you know." He nodded. "I know, Dad. But tonight, we start fresh. No past, no mistakes, just us." We drove into the quiet night, the city lights blurring past us. He talked, laughed, and even sang along with old songs from our shared playlists. I listened more than I spoke, letting him lead the way, letting him guide this reunion. It was surreal and beautiful, like stepping into a dream I had longed for but almost gave up on. Finally, we reached a small hill overlooking the city. The lights below twinkled like stars mirroring the heavens. He pulled out a small blanket and we sat, side by side, watching the city breathe beneath us. "I wanted to bring you here because I remember when I was little, you told me that no matter what happens, the world is big, but our bond is bigger. And tonight, I want to remember that, with you." I placed my arm around him. "Son, I never stopped hoping, never stopped loving you, even when it seemed you didn't see me. And now, seeing you like this, hearing your words, it's everything a father could ever dream of." We sat in silence, letting the wind and the night sky witness the healing of a bond that had been strained, tested, and almost broken. But now it was stronger than ever. Finally, he turned to me and whispered, "Dad, I love you. And I promise from now on, no matter what, I'll never let anyone or anything come between us again." I smiled through my tears, and I love you, son. Always have, always will. You're my heart, my life, my everything. As we sat there together, the world felt right. The years of distance, the moments of hurt, the nights of waiting and longing, they all faded away. What remained was simple, pure, and eternal. Love. That night, under the stars, we didn't just celebrate a birthday. We celebrated a bond that could never be broken. A love that had survived every test. A father and son, reunited at last. And for the first time in what felt like forever, I truly felt whole.